So Simon, bit of a back and forth game today. What were your thoughts? How did you see it?
I thought we played the team sheet the first half. Obviously Whitehaven, man down, horrendous amount of injuries, suspensions and other bits and bobs for them, and we drilled it into them all week that they're going to come down back to the wall sort of performance, which is what I'd expect from us if we were going up there in a similar fashion, and they didn't disappoint, did they? And we didn't build a game. We tried to win it in minute one, which is not how this game works. So yeah, it was a difficult watch that first half, to say the least, conceding 24 points, a couple of them breakaways which were a few individual errors and a couple of poor defensive stuff as well in amongst, but to score 36 unanswered in the second half when we were a little bit rattled at half time. Obviously the board doesn't look pretty in terms of the table at the minute. We need to get climbing it and put us under that sort of scoreboard pressure. It's not a great position to be in it, with a few losses behind you. So yeah, it was an honest and frank conversation, let's say, at half time, about what we delivered and what we needed to do, and thankfully we came out the other side with a better attitude in the second half, and a couple of people who were nowhere near the first half in terms of the level of performance as expected really upped the game. Kevin Leroy, my finest example of that. I thought he carried poorly first half. He didn't do what we discussed, what I wanted him to do, didn't execute his role. Again, second half, his second stint, he carried the ball strongly like he can do, which is how we needed it from minute one. But yeah, lots of positive, lots of character shown, but definitely a bit to work on.
How far can you get in this league with resilience like that? I imagine you'll review this game a lot more in the week, but that resilience really sort of showed through in that second half, I thought. Yeah,
it certainly helps, but I'd rather get through without putting ourselves in that position where we have to show such resilience or character to get back. Look, I'm not going to dress it up into a brilliant win because Whitehaven were up against it, but considering some of the things that happened within the game, the scoreboard pressure, I think it's a step in the right direction. But still, we're not quite there yet. We are gelling. We're getting there. Yeah, that performance, 40 minutes, I'll accept. The other 40, fine tooth comb this week.
Just a word on Whitehaven. I know you said last week that the championship this year is perhaps the strongest that you've seen it. Was that another example of it today, the way that they pushed you with only 16 men?
Yeah, I think the 16 bit doesn't matter really. Like, we've played games with 16, we've had 17, but we've not used the sub. That's not really that important. But you're right. Well, I'm right. I said it, didn't I? There you go. But the championship does. It's an hard league, and it gets harder every year. Every team can play, and if you're not on it, you will get your pants pulled down. And we weren't far off that today, weren't we?
Joe Keys was the man of the match. He was outstanding. What did you make of his performance?
Really good, took the line on, he's playing with a bit of confidence. He's obviously we've brought in Kyle Wood, Keezy, Corey, Louis. Is that it for spine? Joe Martin's in there as well. Liam Whitten before he moved on. Brought in the players that are like the spine that lead the team. They've played a good number of games together now and they're getting there and establishing an order, and right now Keys is that number one halfback and he's running our team, and I thought that showed today. Got hold of the game against, I forget who it was now, was it Lee? Might have been Lee, where we just needed, in the second half, we needed Keezy, Corey to get hold of that game, and they didn't quite do it, and he'd identified that himself, and I'm pleased for him today, for him to be able to get a grip of the game and guide us around, and he was involved in most things that got us over the line, whether it was directly or indirectly. So yeah, really happy where Joe's at a minute, but I think there's still a lot more to come with again the number of new blokes in that spine. There's still a bit of gelling to do and some understanding of the role of each player.
Another one of the new men in the forwards is Titus Gwazi. He scored the try that put you in front. He seems to have had a really good start to the season. What have you made of him?
Consistent. That's kind of what you want from all your players, I suppose. He's a bit of a. If he's a foot taller, he won't be here. Let's put it that way. He's an effort man. He will turn up for you, and he's very reliable. And that's what I like about him. He's the difference between his worst and his best. There's a hair between it. Like, he does his job and he does it well. You don't have to worry about him dropping off too much. And he come up with a valuable try at that time. I can't remember what score with him. Was that to get in front?
Yeah.
So yeah, so he gets us in front. He did a Titus carry, just ran hard between bodies and found his way through. He ran at Dion Air a couple of times. He might learn from that. Won't do that again. But yeah, I thought Titus was really good. He started strong. There's been a couple of us who started strong, to be fair, but there's a long way to go yet. I think there's plenty of blokes out there who will have the moment throughout the season.
Last couple from me. Just a couple of injury updates. Brad Knowles, Matty G and Greg Worthington, how are they getting on?
Good. Well, Matty's progressing. It's, as I've said before, it's a nerve injury. I'm no doctor, but I know they heal at a very slow rate, and sometimes with these things it literally is time. We're doing everything we can. He's doing everything he can to stimulate these nerves into action. But unfortunately, until they get to a certain level, the muscles that aren't working properly play a big part in your shoulder stability. And in a game like this, it's a real big risk if we were to push him before that, and we certainly won't, so we'll wait for him. But he's joining in training, and I can guarantee he'll add a lot of value when he does come. He's a good player, and he looks good in training, to be fair. It's just that contact bit that's missing at the moment. We're not ready to do with him, but hopefully he's not a million miles off. Greg's had surgery on his toe. Slow healing process, bit of infection, bits to deal with, and he's coming out the other side of that now, and he's hoping to be around. He told me the other day he's aiming for Lee. Is that around 17 ish, 16, 17, something like that. So he's a way off yet, but he's approaching it with the right attitude. Which, moving into Brad Knowles, Brad's, I think the doctors are a little bit shocked at the progress he has made so far, to be honest. He's probably only, is it 7-8 weeks ago when he did the injury. He's up on his feet, no need for any brace, crutches or anything anymore, which is a lot faster than we all expected considering the nature of injury and the tests he's had so far. They're happy with him from a hospital perspective, kind of signed him off really, and now it's just still healing a bit, but the lengthy process of getting function back in that leg. And Brad's attitude's been brilliant. It's a holding back sort of job really, as opposed to pushing him along through his rehab. He's determined to get himself back quicker than the time frame that the experts, if you like, have suggested. And his attitude's been brilliant, and it's quite infectious, to be fair. Seeing him ripping when he ain't playing at the weekend, the lads really value him and enjoying him having him around. He's adding value in that sense, and he's probably got a few words for them at half time when I've left room today, I think, because Brad's his attitude's spot on all the time. He has been throughout his career, and our attitude wasn't where it needed to be at the beginning of the game, so I think he had a few choice words for him. And it's difficult when you're on sideline as well, watching your mates play and they're not doing as well as they could, and it's tough for them. They're still part of the team even if they're not playing at the minute, and as I say, it's nice to see them all adding value.
And just finally, week off next week, Bradford the week after. Will that break benefit you, or would you rather keep the momentum going into next week?
Yes and no. James Woodburn got a decent crack off one of the Lee front rowers that's slowed him down a little bit. I think he was alright today. I didn't think we saw the best of him. Other than that, we have a fit squad, so it would have been nice to roll into another game and keep the momentum going, but we'll get something out of the next two. As I said in the early questions there, this game won't be swept under the carpet. They never are. It's same tooth comb, win, lose, draw, however it goes. We'll go through it all to make sure we know exactly why and what went wrong, and that'll have a bearing on how we train this week, and there'll be a higher level of intensity towards the end of the week because we're not playing, and then we'll divert our attention onto the Bulls, which is one we all look forward to, a local derby, and we've not been there for a while, I don't think, Odsall, since the small pitch and all that, so we've got a bit to prepare for there. But yeah, on to the next one. That's this game. The beauty of it at times, it's you just move on to the next game. It's not easy to forget the last one, but you just have to change your focus straight away. But the week off probably just affords us a bit of time to assess ourselves, because I think that's what was off today. It wasn't the opposition. They did what we expected. We just didn't do what we needed to do. So we'll probably look after them Tuesday, but the back end of the week there'll be some tough work done.
Just one last one from me, Simon. What do you make of the Bulls this season? They beat London 9-8 today. They've had some strange results this season. What do you make of the Bulls?
I've not watched them. I've not really bothered, to be honest, at the minute. I'll be bothered this week when we start looking at them and preparing to play against them. Again, as we just discussed there, it's a tough league. London went part-time in November, which is probably a very hard time to start getting things together. And to get a player who was getting paid, for argument's sake, £100,000 up north, it's a bit different living in London, so it goes up, and the costs and everything that they get adjusting to after being to full time for so long. They've had to get to grips with that, and obviously they didn't start the season well, but again, like Whitehaven today, they'll pick some teams off as it goes, and sounds like they've put a good performance in there against the Bulls today. So I won't read too much into him just pipping London. I don't think that's probably disrespectful to London, to be quite honest. It's a tough league, and on the day, anyone's a chance.
And if you don't mind, just one last one. I'm just wondering, has Gary Hetherington been in touch by any chance? Obviously, Leeds are looking for a head coach.
No, he's not. Unfortunately, I'm quite happy where I am. I'm very comfortable here and learning my trade here at a club that means a lot to me, and I won't be going anywhere anytime soon, I wouldn't imagine. But Leeds are in a spot. They're in a tough spot, are they? But they've got a lot of good people at that club who'll make the right decisions to put them back on track, I'm sure. And I'm sure they'll point the right bloke and turn them around, because they've got some quality there.